Welcome viewers to another exciting moment of Genesis Global Lab. I am the Chief Executive Director of Genesis Global Lab, where scientific, creative, and innovative idea are unveiled. Today, I'll be teaching you how to produce your dry erasable ink. But at the end of this show, the raw materials, the procedures, and the methods which you need to produce your dry erasable ink will be displaying on the screen. But do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, to press the notification button, and as well like our page. Now, before you start, we start this experiment, you need about 12 to 15 raw materials which are organic in nature. First and foremost, you need this, a weighing scale to measure the raw materials in the right proportion. You need a emulsifying agent, either in liquid or solid form. You need your laurette. Laurette serves as a cleansing agent. You need your plasticizer in order to help the film former plasticize. You need your buffer solution. So what a buffer solution does is to regulate the acidity or the alkalinity content of your ink. Then you need your drying agent. You need your drying agent. It's also used in paint production. Then you need your resin. This particular resin is the film former. So what I'm using today is my PVB polybutyl. Then another thing that you need your alcohol binder, alcohol resin binder. So what I'm using today is my alcohol resin binder. You can also use your Arabic gum, but I'm using my alcohol soluble binder. Then you need a thickener, but in the course of this experiment, I'm not using my thickener. You can use a thickener. It's called PAA, polyviacyclic acid. Then another thing that you need your hyperdispersant. It could be in liquid form or in powdered forms. What I'm having on my right hand now is zinc stearate. They are what is called a dispersing agent. Then you need your UV stabilizer. You need your UV stabilizer. What UV stabilizer does is that it helps the ink not to fade when exposed to oxidation or to the sun. Then you need your pigment. Pigment could be organic or inorganic, but I'm using my blue pigment. Then you need your glycerin. So what glycerin does, it's a wetting agent so that the ink will not be stiff when you are using it on the whiteboard. Then another thing that you need your alcohol. You need your alcohol solvent. You need your solvents, or what is called carrier. You can use your ethyl alcohol or use your isopropanol. I'm using both. Or in the absence of any of it, you can use either alcohol. You can use ethyl alcohol or use your isopropanol. But I'm using both in the course of this experiment. All right. Then another thing you need the empty vessel to transfer the raw materials and including the solvent into this empty vessel. Now let's kickstart. Now for you to do this, you need to have your empty vessel or cake. Then you have to transfer about 2 cups of this. This 2 cups of this is approximately 5 grams when you weigh it on your scale. So I will put 4 cups of my rubbing alcohol. I hope you are counting along with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, so I've transferred 4 of my rubbing alcohol or isopropanol into this. Then I have to cover so it will not escape. So the next thing I will do is to put about still 4 cups of my ethyl alcohol. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I have about 40 grams of my carrier solvent, my alcohol. Then once you are done with this, you need to have about 2 spatula of your emulsifying agents. I'm using the liquid one, so I've added about 2 spatula of my emulsifying agent. Then I stir, I keep stirring. I keep stirring to make sure that everything is uniformly, homogenized, is uniformly mixed. Then once I'm done with this, I have to clean up my spatula. Then I'll add my binder, my soluble alcohol binder. I'm adding only half of it. So what this does is to help the ink not to drip, to help you to have a strong binding ability on the white balls. So I've added just half spatula of my soluble alcohol resin binder. Then once that is done, I have to cover so that that cover will not be evaporating. Then I have to add my laurets. So these are my laurets. My lauret, they are cleansing agents. I'll add only 3 drops of this, 2 and 3. And when I'm done with, I have to cover it as fast as possible, then keep it aside. As I told you that I'm using 2 laurets, the liquid and the semi solid one. Then I stir, keep stirring. Then once I'm done, I have to clean my spatula. Then I will add half spatula of my lauret. I'll make sure that it is well dissolved into my solution. So I have added half spatula of my lauret, my semi liquid laurets. Then I'm done with that. I keep it aside. Then I keep stirring. Once I'm done with that, I have to cover it. Then I have to clean. Then once I'm done with the cleaning, the next thing I have to do, I have to add my hyper dispersant, my hyper dispersant agent. I will add only 2 of it because I'm using both the solid and the liquid. I'm done with that. I have to add my powdered dispersant. I will only add a quarter of my spatula. I will only be adding a quarter of my spatula. Then I clean. Then I'm adding a quarter of my spatula. You can see. Look at it. It's just a quarter of it, a little of it. Don't add much. Depending on the quantity that you are producing. But because of this experiment, I'm using a little quantity of my raw material so that I will really obtain, the right measurement or quantity of my ink, so that it will not be either excess or below measurements. Then once I'm done with that, I keep my dispersants. Then the next I have to do is to add my plasticizer to this. So I'm using my powdered plasticizer. So I'm just taking a little of it, probably a quarter of my plasticizer, quarter of it. You could get your liquid one or your powdered one, but because of this experiment, I'm using the powdered one. So this is my plasticizer. It's almost half of it, half of my spatula. I will add it to my mixture. Keep stirring, make sure everything is uniformly, distributed. Everything is dissolving. I want to make sure that everything is completely homogenized. And once I'm done with it, I'm going to add my buffer solution. My buffer solution to regulate the pH of the ink. Once I'm done with it, I have to clean. Then put just a drop. Please don't put more than that so that it will not affect the color of your pigment. Just add a drop of it. Then I'm done with this. Then I keep it aside. I keep my buffer solution aside. Then keep stirring. Once I'm done with that, the next thing I have to do is to add my drying agent. Just add a drop, because if it's much, it's a catalyst. It speeds up the drying time. If it's more, it's going to affect the pH too, and as well as the color. So I just added a drop of it. Wow, that's enough. Then the next thing I have to do is to keep it aside. Then I need to clean. This. Then make sure that it's not in excess. Then I've added just a drop of my drying agents. Then I have to cover. And once I'm done with that, the next thing that I need to do is to pick up my resin former. I'll just add a spatula full of my resin former. So just a spatula fit. You can see a spatula fit. This is spatula fit. Then I put it into this empty tin. Then I need to cover. Then I keep it aside. Now, my PVB will not be able to dissolve. completely, I have to use acetone or I use my glycerin. So in the absence of my acetone, I use my glycerin to dissolve it, then add a little of my emulsifying agent. I just needed to add only 3 drops of it. It shouldn't be much. So I'm recounting is 1, 2, 3. So it's enough. So I've added my glycerin. Then I have to stir. Once I'm done with it, I'll add a little, maybe 2 drops of my emulsifying agent in order to blend very well. So I have just two drops of my emulsifying agent, 1 and 2. Wow. So I'm done with this. I will cover it and put it aside. Then I keep stir to make sure that it is dissolved. If it's not, I have to add another maybe 2 more drops of glycerin. I want it to completely get dissolved. So 1, 2. So that is done. I have to cover. Then keep stirring. Keep stirring. Alright, so it is dissolving. So I transfer a little of my solution so as to mix it up. Then add it together. Measure. Then once it is completely dissolved, then I will pour everything into my cake. Measure it is dissolved. I keep stirring because it takes a little time for the PVB to completely dissolve. But I want to make sure that everything is completely dissolved. Then I'm taking out the remaining PVB inside the tin to make sure that everything is completely removed. Then I transfer it into my main cake. Then I keep stirring. I keep stirring to ensure that everything is dissolved. So once that is done, I'm almost done. So everything is completely dissolved. So the next I have to do, I have to clean. Then I just add a little of my pigments, my blue pigments, about a spatula of my pigments. I add a spatula of my pigments into my mixture. I want to open it wide so that I can easily remove it. This my pigment, this blue pigment, this spatula of it. So add it into the cake. Spatula of it. Spatula of it. Then I keep stirring, keep stirring, keep stirring, keep stirring, keep stirring. Make sure everything is completely homogenized. And let me see. Alright. It's dry enough. I'm almost done. Then let me add just a little of it. I want it to be thick. Then I'm adding a little of it. A little of it, a little of it. Just a little. Then I'm done with it. Then I keep all the raw materials aside. Then I keep stirring. Keep stirring to make sure that everything is completely mixed. Everything is completely mixed. Alright. Alright. Wow. So I'm done. So what the next thing I have to do is so we're going to test it with our marker to ensure that the ink is is good enough to be used on the whiteboard. So let me check. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove my nylon cover. So once I'm done with this, I need I think I need a rag. I need a rag to be able to remove the stem. So let's see, you can see that this is empty. So this is empty, so I want to remove completely the ink that is there. So remove the ink that's completely there. So it's empty, so I'm going to open it to transfer my ink into my absorbing the ink absorbent, then put it back, then we'll test it. So I'm going to put a little of it into this. I'll put a little of into this to ensure that it's completely into the absorbent. I keep putting it to make sure it's enough. I keep putting it to make sure it's enough. So until I'm sure that it is filled up. Yeah, I'm almost done. Then I have to put it here. So we're almost done. Then I keep my ink aside and keep this aside. Then let's see how erasable this is. Now let's test it with this cover and see how good it is, if it's wiping out or not. So let's test it. You see, so I have to do what? Let's make a trial. It's gone. You can see it's almost dry. It's gone. You can see. So this is how you can produce your dry erasable ink. You can see. So let's test it again. Let me write C. So it's almost done. So let me shake it once again to ensure that it's flowing out completely. So I have this. It's gone. Let's clean it. It's gone. So this is how you can produce your dry erasable ink. For further inquiries, please do wait to contact us via our email. Thank you one more time for viewing. Thank you very much.